All right, good afternoon, everybody. We're going to go ahead and call the meeting to order by way of roll call. I see that both Commissioner Baskerville and Commissioner Rourke are here, as am I. So we have all three commissioners today, which is very good. Barbara, welcome back.
Yes. Thank you. It was a rough trip.
It sounds like it. Yeah. Sorry to hear that. All right, so we'll go into our open public comment period. If there's anyone from the public that has a comment today, please let us know.
Yes, we do have a few in the room, and we do have some online as well. First in the room, and please forgive me if I say your name incorrectly. It looks like the last name is easier, so it's McEwen. Please go ahead and press the button and begin with your public comment by stating your first and last name for the record.
Thank you. Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Shavana McEwen, and thank you for the opportunity to address you today. As I stated, my name is Shavana McEwen, and I'd like to speak to you for a moment about an ethics complaint that was reported by the Columbian earlier this week about Ms. Vanessa Gaston. I currently serve as the executive director for a nonprofit here in Clark County that works closely with elected officials and public service staff members and leaders from other sectors in providing education and guidance on how to utilize an equity lens in decision-making. I have a master's degree in social work from the University of Washington, and I served 5 years in the U.S. Navy. I'm sharing these experiences with you so that you may understand that some of the qualifications I hold to support my understanding of this matter. I first met Ms. Gaston in 2021 when I worked for another nonprofit in our community that receives support from Clark County Community Services. I was immediately struck by Ms. Gaston's clear level of professionalism, the high standards which she set for herself, her staff, and the organizations with which she interacted. In my time at that organization, I heard Ms. Gaston repeatedly express an expectation that organizations abide by and adhere to clear guidelines, contracted services that were set forth by the county. Since first meeting Ms. Gaston, I've also been keenly aware of her commitment to address racialized and other systemic barriers to success for our residents of the community. You may be aware that in 2020, the Clark County Council and the Clark County Board of Health both approved resolutions condemning systemic racism and naming racism a public health crisis. The County Council is also aware of Community Services Equity Statement and the emphasis the department places on decreasing racialized disparities in any metric of health and well-being. Given the County Council's awareness of this priority and stated desire to end racism in the county, Ms. Gaston is fulfilling her duties as department director to uphold the values of the county in both serving on the board of directors of the Community Foundation of Southwest Washington and in supporting the work of her staff to direct funds to the foundation, which are then used to support the efforts of many organizations working to dismantle systemic systems of oppression. Finally, I'd like to invite you to consider the bigger picture of what has happened leading up to this investigation. We are currently witnessing a situation in which a Black community leader is publicly questioned on her judgment and ethical understanding, despite the fact that she has nearly 20 years of exemplary service to this county and has held numerous leadership positions across the country, across nonprofit and government organizations alike, and has never had a complaint about her ethics made against her. Ms. Gaston's skin color does not make her immune from making mistakes or poor decisions. It does, however, make her susceptible to ridicule, degradation, and questioning in a way that is unlike anything you or I will ever experience. I'm asking you to consider Ms. Gaston's track record in the community, the standards the county places on all employees, and whether or not Ms. Gaston may be experiencing some level of double standard due to her skin color and commitment to racial justice. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate you coming in and speaking today. Your comments are well received. Is there anybody else?
Yes, we have Ezra Khalil.
Okay. Go ahead.
They're making their way to the podium.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Good afternoon, counselors. My name is Esra Khalil. I'm a senior program officer supporting the Community Foundation Strategic Grant Making Program, and I've been in this role since 2018. Our president, Matt Morton, sends his regrets that he cannot be here in person as he is navigating a family health emergency. On behalf of the Community Foundation for Southwest Washington, I want to thank you for this opportunity to share our experience. We understand this is a procedural matter, but we want to ensure that you have a full and accurate picture of our role and Vanessa Gaston's involvement, which was not accurately portrayed in a recent news report. Our organization was founded 40 years ago by a late well-known community advocate, Mary Granger, whose husband Richard served on this very council for 2 terms. In the 4 decades since, we become a cornerstone of the region's philanthropic sector, inspiring residents to invest in charitable and community causes that have shaped Southwest Washington for the better. Today, our mission is to engage communities and mobilize resources to create a Southwest Washington where everyone can chart their path toward prosperity and participate in shaping our region's future. To accomplish this, we partner with donors, nonprofits, municipalities, and caring residents from all walks of life. Vanessa Gaston has been involved with our work as a committed board member since 2017. This role is unpaid. Our volunteer board is made up of 12 esteemed committed community members who all signed conflicts of interest statements to ensure honest and unbiased decision-making. Throughout her tenure, Vanessa has demonstrated a track record of showing up with incredible integrity and professionalism. Let me give you one important example. Our contracts, which this county approved, were established to direct mental health sales tax proceeds to community-based organizations. We grant these funds through our Social Justice and Resiliency Fund, which braids funding from various resources to distribute grants to local nonprofits and community-based organizations. Funding decisions are guided by our Community Grants Committee made up of 15 issue experts from diverse backgrounds and communities across Clark, Cowlitz, and Skamania counties. Before entering into these contracts, Vanessa served on the committee, but proactively recused herself from all Social Justice and Resiliency Fund activities, emails, discussions, and decisions. Based on the communications we've had with county officials, we were awarded these contracts because of the equitable grant-making practices and policies we have developed over the years. We have established trusted relationship with local nonprofits and grant programs that are informed by evolving best practices in the field of philanthropy. All of this is to say our role and expertise as a place-based grant maker is unique. And is a strength and other public agencies are leveraging as well, not just Clark County. And we're proud to have the opportunity to strengthen the ability of public dollars to fund local services. Equally important is the impact we are making. We hear from grantees that this funding is transformative, allowing them to build capacity to serve our community. This has been a multiplier effect that improves health, resiliency, and prosperity of communities in Clark County. Thank you for your partnership in making this possible and for considering the full picture of this matter.
Is there anybody else in the room that didn't get a chance to sign up that would like to speak today?
I'd like to speak. I didn't get to sign up.
Okay, please come to the podium, state your first and last name for the record, and go ahead with your comment.
My name is Rika Strong, and I have known Vanessa Gaston for a very long time. As a matter of fact, I was the first chief of diversity and equity here at Clark County and was actually part of the onboarding process when this county was so fortunate enough to have Vanessa relocate to come and work for the other Clark County. What I want to say is I know Vanessa as a community member, but I also know Vanessa as an employee. And the vetting process for Vanessa to be hired on as the Director of Community Services for Clark County was quite extensive. and it dug into the background of all of the amazing work that Vanessa has done for communities, with community, and by community. And never at one point in time through the vetting of her employment here at Clark County and her stellar track record in the opportunity that I've had to work with her here. And by the way, I was housing and human resources. And so if there was something questionable about her record or about her ethics, those things would have come up, I'm sure, multiple times here at the county. So I'm here, and then as a friend and as a community member, I've watched Vanessa try to pour in communities, make sure that she is an exceptional steward of dollars that come from the county and that go back out in the community, and that those dollars, she is explicit, that those dollars are intentional and go back to the people that those dollars would truly help, even in the way that contracts are written. I 1000% doubt that Vanessa has done anything to compromise ethics. As a matter of fact, in our personal relationship, sometimes I've tried to prod her for information and she said, nope, I can't share that with you. And anybody who knows Vanessa or who has worked with Vanessa knows that that's the case. It's rare that I will ever speak on somebody's behalf. I feel so strongly about this, and the horrible article that was written about her in the Republican that could decimate her character as a leader. It made me even question my leadership in this community, and if I want to serve on boards or if I want to be a part of philanthropy, if this is how we treat our leaders who do an exceptional job of that. There are so few people of color who stand up and volunteer to lead and volunteer our time to sit on boards, and we got a number of people that are asking us to do this. If this is how we treat our people who are exceptional and who have an exceptional record, what will it do for anybody else who wants to come forward in the future? So I'm saying all that to say this is one of the most, and we've gotten to some fights because she is so ethical. This is, it feels like a railroading and a dog whistle for certain behaviors that we want to see come from people. I hope that we make the right decision here today as we wrap up, but I am embarrassed for the county and the way that this has been handled. And I'm also really disappointed in our local media that this is the presentation that this received. Thank you.
A final call for anybody else in the room. And we do have one online, Adam. Charles Harvey, you've been sent a request to unmute. Please state your first and last name again for the record and go ahead with your comment.
My name's Charles Harvey. I was the one who filed the complaint regarding the Clark County Sheriff Internal Affairs for not applying the law equitably, specifically pulling. So I pull AVL data for the sheriff's offices. So AVL data has all the information about how fast their vehicles are going and where they're at. Run that through an algorithm and then show if they're following the speed limit when they should, and how much over the speed limit, sometimes 2 or 3 times over the speed limit. And in that course of data, I found data that showed that the sheriff was doing 80 and a 55 on the way to a meeting at WSP office over off of the 205 freeway. I filed a complaint for that and was told that they would not take any complaints regarding the sheriff. So one, I'm wondering why this is even being reviewed right now, because you have not requested any of the evidence that I said I would make available for this commission. There's been no requests whatsoever. So that's the question to you guys. Thank you.
Adam, that's all we have as far as public comment today.
Okay, thanks everybody for your comments. They're all very important. We think that the public comment period of our meetings is a really critical part of what we do. So I really appreciate everybody coming in personally to give us their thoughts. So at this point, the next order of business is to approve the minutes from the last meeting. I reviewed them. They look good to me. Commissioners?
Also reviewed them and they look good.
I move to approve.
Second.
All right, and I would also support approving the minutes, so that's unanimous. Now we'll move into executive session to review the 3 complaints that we're dealing with today. I think we're going to need more than the 10 minutes that's on our agenda. So,
May I just ask to be sure that I need to flip back to my email, but is there a link there for me? Because I can't get into Outlook, as you know. Okay.
Barbara, this is Laura. Could you provide us with is that your personal email address that we would have to send that to for you to be able to get linked in?
Yes.
What is that email address?
Laura.
Oh, yes.
You know what, Laura, I have it. This is Jessica Skelton. I will email it to
Okay.
you.
Excellent. Thank you,
And
Jessica.
Thank you.
One other thing, Chair Murray, I just noticed that the agenda has the review of the submitted complaints first before the executive session. I think that may be an error, and I think we would want a motion to reorder the agenda so that the executive session occurs first.
thank you. Can we get a motion on that?
So moved.
Second.
All right, and I agree. So unanimously, we'll reorder the agenda.
Can you send me the link as well? I just want to make sure I can get it.
Yes, I will. I will do that. I will send you the link, both of you.
Thank
the
you
link.
so much.
Okay.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, see y'all in the other room.
Okay.
Thank you.
Hello. Okay, I'm Christine Cook, Senior Deputy Prosecuting Attorney, and I am here to announce, in the absence of the chair who cannot get back on this meeting right now for reasons related to technology, that we expect that the executive session will take until 2:45, that we will reconvene at 2:45, and if that time needs to be extended, we will announce that. And that's all we had.
Okay.
Okay, we have everyone back. Apologize for the technical difficulties. It's always kind of interesting switching between different platforms, but we're back. So we are now going to review the complaints. We will start with the complaint that we've numbered 2024-06, the complaint against Vanessa Gaston. This complaint failed to disclose a conflict of interest because she served on the board of directors of the Community Foundation of Southwest Washington when she ordered an award of a no-bid contract to the foundation. We previously reviewed this complaint, and in our initial meeting about it, we ruled that it alleged sufficient cause to warrant an investigation. And we specified in that ruling that we wanted an investigation because we could not determine from the complaint alone whether an ethics violation might have occurred. The investigation is now complete and the commissioners have all reviewed it. So under our business process and with the benefit of the investigation report, we now have to determine either that the allegations in the complaint do not constitute an ethics violation or that we will hold a hearing on the complaint. As a reminder, the ethical rules that we consider are those adopted in Clark County Code Section 2.07.010. That is specifically Title 42 of the Revised Code of Washington and Clark County Human Resources Policy 13. Both of those are readily available online for anyone who wants to see them. They're on our commission's website also. So as defined within those rules, an ethics violation generally involves the use of a public position for personal gain. However, RCW 4223.070 is within our charge, and it prohibits municipal officers from using their positions to secure certain benefits for themselves or others, as does HR Policy 13.1, subsection 2. Thus, in this matter, we are concerned with whether Ms. Gaston used her position to unethically secure a gain for herself or for the foundation. But we don't consider policy issues or decisions that don't implicate the ethics code, such as the sole source policy issue that was discussed in the investigation report. So we won't be addressing that today. I would like to first thank the investigator Jillian Barron for her thorough investigation report. The investigation gives the commission several very important facts that we did not have on our initial consideration. Specifically, the complainant admits no personal knowledge about Ms. Gaston's involvement in awarding the contract, which turns out to have been peripheral and not primary. Neither Ms. Gaston's office nor the foundation originated the request for funding, and there appears to be no evidence that Ms. Gaston abused her county position in connection with this contract. Meanwhile, there is evidence that Ms. Gaston's position on the foundation board was generally known, partly through her own efforts to be transparent about that and to avoid related conflicts of interest. So, as I mentioned in our initial consideration, a municipal officer with any role in awarding contracts, I believe, steps into a bit of a danger zone by sitting on the board of any entity that receives a county contract. And that's understandably going to draw the attention of concerned citizens, as I personally believe that it should. But in my view, the evidence here establishes that Ms. Gaston did not violate our ethics code. So I'll vote to rule that the allegations in the complaint do not constitute an ethics violation. Do either of the other commissioners want to discuss this complaint further before we vote?
No,
No,
I'm
I'd
good.
like-
Yeah.
I would move that this does not constitute an ethical violation under our rules and the ethical rules of the state.
And I would agree with that.
Okay, those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that's unanimous. We'll now move on to complaint number 2024-11. This one is filed by Rodney Harvey about Deputy Fire Marshal Jason Noble. So the complaint alleges that Mr. Noble misused his county position to secure certain benefits for his wife and friends. This is another complaint that we previously reviewed, and we ruled that sufficient cause existed for an investigation. The investigation is now complete. We've all reviewed the investigation. So we're in the same posture as the previous matter, and we must now determine either that the allegations in the complaint do not constitute an ethics violation, or that we will hold a hearing on the complaint. So first, the commission thanks the investigator for the report. The investigation did not identify for me any facts that reduce my concern that an ethical violation might have occurred here. To the contrary, the investigation reveals that Fire Marshal Noble may have further used his county position to secure related video footage from another county department for his personal benefit, and he may have misrepresented certain facts to the investigator. So in my view, the evidence establishes that Mr. Noble might have knowingly made a false or misleading statement in violation of RCW 42.20.040 or HR Policy 13.1, and he might have used his position to secure special privileges or exemptions for himself or others, or may have received a gift or a gratuity for his services as a fire marshal in violation of RCW 42.23.070 or HR Policy 13.1. I do not think that the allegations in the investigation report's conclusions related to HR Policy 14.4 fall within our purview. So I did not consider those. But based on the information in the investigation report, I will vote that we should hold a hearing on this complaint. Do either of the other commissioners want to discuss this complaint further before we vote?
No.
No, I would agree with the fact that this needs to go on to a hearing.
Okay, is there a motion about how we should rule?
Moved. That we have a hearing, I'm sorry.
Right. I second.
Okay, those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, so this is actually the first one of our complaints that we're moving on to a hearing. So under our business process, we set the matter for a hearing during a later open public meeting. And I would recommend that we hold that hearing on February 18th at 2:30 p.m. When we have another meeting already scheduled according to our agenda today. Does that work for everybody?
It works for me. That's good.
Okay, so under our rules, then notice will be sent to the complainant and to Mr. Noble, and both sides of this complaint may provide testimony and witnesses at the hearing. So please review our business process and our administrative procedures, which are both posted on our website. All right. We will now move on to complaint number 2024-13. This was filed by Charles Harvey about Sheriff John Horsch. The complaint alleges that the complainant witnessed Sheriff Horsch speeding on State Route 500. In a separate voicemail, the complainant alleges that he filed a related complaint that was denied and accuses Sheriff Horsch of preventing a related investigation. Mr. Harvey spoke during our public comment period and asked a question about his evidence. We really do need complaints to be thorough and clear because we don't ask for additional information unless we order either an investigation or a hearing. As we've stated many times, sufficient cause to warrant an ethics investigation exists when a reasonable person with knowledge of all the facts set forth in the complaint would conclude that the complaint describes conduct that may violate one or more ethical rules. We've already described today the ethical rules that are within our purview, so I won't go over that again. In my view, speeding is not an ethics violation. Preventing a related investigation might be, but denial of the prior complaint is the only fact offered to support that allegation, and that does not meet my understanding of sufficient cause. So I'll vote today that we rule that the allegations in this complaint do not constitute an ethics violation. Either of the other commissioners want to discuss this further before we vote?
No, do we need a motion?
We do.
Okay, I would move that this does not constitute an ethics violation.
Second.
All right, all those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, so that disposes of the 3 complaints we were meeting today to discuss. Does anyone have anything else for the good of the order?
Do not.
No.
All right, hearing none, then I want to thank my fellow commissioners for being here today, for all of our staff that helps us out, for all the people who came today to participate in this process. Thank you for being here and have a great weekend.
Thank you.